All right, welcome back to the clubhouse, and it's time for us to talk about one of the hottest topics in all sports right now, and that's the Caitlin Clark drama. Of course, the latest news, we found out that she was left off the Olympic team. So over the weekend, members of Team USA women's basketball team for the Olympics were leaked. Caitlin Clark was left off the team, and here's what she said when asked if she was disappointed. She said, "Nope, no disappointment. It just gives me something to work for. It's a dream. Hopefully one day I can be there. I think it's just a little more motivation." You can remember that. Hopefully when 4 years comes back around, I can be there. So Dani, I want to start with you. What are your thoughts on her getting snubbed from the Olympic team?
Absolutely insane. I think it's insane from a business perspective, which is why I think it's funny that JP's on the opposite side of this with me, because business perspective, this makes no sense. You have the hottest athlete, not female, athlete on the planet right now, and you are not going to put her on the Olympic team. You're going to wait 4 more years to hope that she's at the right time to be able to be on that roster. She's doing well enough in the league right now to be able to be on that roster spot. And for the league to come out and say, oh, we didn't put her on there because we knew her fans were going to be upset because she wasn't going to play that much. No, these are educated basketball fans. They can understand a no playing time. I don't think you can understand not being put on that roster. She has transcended the sport. The WNBA has been looking for a player to be able to build this entire organization around. They finally have her, and I don't think they know what to do with her. This is beyond insane for me. From a viewer standpoint, you'd get way more viewership than probably USA Gymnastics, which is saying something. It all of a sudden becomes something you put in your calendar as, oh, when does the women's basketball team play? I must watch Caitlin Clark play. All of a sudden, that's part of your calendar. It's a conversation. People are meeting up for it. I think it's bad for ratings. I think it's bad for jersey sales. I think you get people that boycott it altogether. I don't think it was smart. They're going to win gold, but they should be winning gold with the most popular player on the planet right now.
I'm not going to argue with a lot of what you said. I tend to agree with it. And this is one of those situations where if USA Basketball would have said Caitlin Clark's on the team, I wouldn't have been mad about it. They say she's not on the team. And I'm not going to complain about it, because the one thing I do go back to is you're right on the business aspect of this thing. But I think about meritocracy as an athlete, because we are sold, and we were all athletes in college. We're sold that when you do the work and you put in your time and you are productive, you get rewarded. And there are a lot of veterans in this league that have put in the work and they have done their time and they are very productive right now, and they're being rewarded. And I think you can point to categories where Caitlin Clark has not been as productive as people perceive she would have been coming into the league. Shooting the 3-ball, she's not the best 3-point shooter on her team. She's not very efficient right now from the floor. She plays defense when she wants to. I'm not going to be the person that says she's a bad defender. I don't think she's consistent on that part of the floor. So when you talk about the basketball aspect, I definitely think that there's a strong case of why she would not be on the Olympic team. I also push back on this idea of growing the game. I think sometimes we can confuse activity with achievement. And although the numbers point to the fact that she's a big draw, if you look at the reaction of people when they talk about the WNBA's popularity, there are people online that'll be like, I only watch because of Caitlin Clark, and if Caitlin Clark is not there, I will not watch. You said people will boycott it altogether. I think because these people are not basketball fans, they are not necessarily women's sports fans, they are fans of one person playing the game. I think when the numbers from women's college basketball this year come out, they might corroborate some of what I'm saying about growing the game, but the idea that the game has grown is still a question to me, because there are people that said if Caitlin's not a part of it, I'm not either, and I don't think we use that window of Caitlin Clark is here to say that, yeah, but what did she do? What did Sabrina do to her when they played? What did Brionna Stewart do to her when they played? Et cetera, et cetera. I think that's missed the mark. So it's an interesting thing, but from a merit standpoint, there is a strong argument for why she's not there, and I'm not going to argue with the merits of it.
I can't fault someone for saying they only watch because of Caitlin Clark right now. And I don't think that that's a negative thing. I went to a concert last night, okay, and I knew the headliner. I didn't know the opener, okay? That was the catalyst for me being introduced to the opener. Okay, so if I like the music, and I may not have known them otherwise, okay, I went for the headliner and I listened to the opener. I was able to get exposed to that. So regardless, and as far as I have an issue with the saying, hey, she wouldn't have played anyways. They've won 7 straight gold medals and haven't lost a game since 1992. The average margin of victory of 29 points is 29 points. Everyone's going to play. They are going to dominate. So right now, this is an opportunity to get new eyeballs, just like a headliner. From a basketball standpoint, no, there's better players. I'm cool with that, and I understand that. But all of a sudden, Caitlin Clark has an organic fan base. That's undeniable. Now you get to introduce the rest of the roster and this game to a larger audience, and I think everybody wins for that reason.
I'm making the argument that I don't think these people want to be introduced to that. I think that they want Caitlin Clark, and if it's not Caitlin, they don't want it. I think that's where these people are telling us that. If you read the tweets underneath some of the stuff, they will tell us that if it's not Caitlin, we don't want to be a part of it. And that's what I'm getting. Like, growing the game has to be more than they show up to watch her. I think if they're showing up to watch other, it does. Yeah. But like I said, women's basketball this year for college will be the indicator for me of how much the game actually grew, or if it was people that showed up just to watch one person.
I showed up at Northwestern just to watch Caitlin Clark, and that line was literally around the block. I couldn't find parking for nearly 45 minutes to watch someone play against a team where they were going to win by 35-plus points. It was not going to be a close game. They showed up to literally watch this woman in a jersey play.
Will they come back this year?
Potentially, yes, because now they found
of the thousand that did that, it won't be 0.
It won't be 0.
There might be 50. There might be there'll be more than there would have otherwise.
And may I just say, this has a little bit of a caveat to this whole conversation. The way that this woman has handled all of this was so much class. The way that she's able to respond to the cheap shots, the way that she's able to respond to being left off a roster, her answers are so eloquent, and I genuinely think she means them. And
I do too.
I
none
really
of this stuff is like
This does not feel like a facade. This does not feel like a PR situation. I genuinely think the people that raised her so well.
I think there's a qualifier for these conversations too, is like none of this is about her, right? Like it's about her, but it's not to make her the issue. She's dealing with other people's problems right now. She's in the middle of it.
Yeah.
But these are not her problems to deal with.
She's not bringing. She didn't ask for this.
No.
She didn't. Put together a campaign for this. It's everything outside.
The last thing I will say on this is 2028 with the Olympics being in the United States, that could be huge for her Olympic debut.
That's a great point.
Imagine what a worldwide superstar she would have been by at that point.
She's already a worldwide superstar.
She will be regardless.
Let's be perfectly clear about
bring her out there.
So the U.S.
To me, you're going to light that torch, and she's not going to be out there. That's just a huge disappointment.
I could go either way on it.
I'm really upset.
All right, Team USA set its women's roster for the Paris Olympics, and we see plenty of firepower right there on the roster. Asia Wilson, Kalia Copper, Brittany Griner, Diana Taurasi, probably getting a swan song when it comes to USA basketball. That list goes on and on. But we do not see #1 overall pick Caitlin Clark on that roster. Harrison Sanford, are you surprised by this from Team USA?
I'm surprised, and frankly, I'm disappointed. I understand that Caitlin Clark is not one of the best 12 players. Disappointed. I understand that she's not one of the 12 best players in women's basketball right now. We totally understand that. All the women who made that roster are more deserving. But the world isn't fair. This isn't a fair place. And we all understand that. There is no questioning that she is the most popular women's basketball player in the world right now. There's actually no questioning what she could do for the growth of the game. This is not a WNBA All-Star game. This is the Olympics. This is the chance to put the women's game on display for the entire world. It is a massively missed opportunity to not have her on the roster and have women and sports fans across the world see her. A tremendous fumble by the women's team. Sorry. It's true.
No, I wouldn't say disappointed, and I agree with the roster that they have. They have the 12 best players in the W right now. And actually, if I were on that committee and choosing names, when it came to possibly Caitlin Clark or Arike Ogunbowale, second leading scorer in the WNBA, one of the most lethal scorers that we have in the game, I'm choosing Arike Ogunbowale. Caitlin Clark will have her time in 2028. And speaking of growing the game is going to continue to grow in the W because Caitlin Clark is there. 2028 is your time. I'm not taking Diana Taurasi off. I'm definitely not taking Asia Wilson off this roster. Caitlin Clark will be just fine. Wait your turn. Let's allow her to continue to develop. In 2028, she will be on that roster. Okay?